Hey everyone, welcome back to Newfound Happy Hour. My name is Sarah and I am your host. And I've been taking a bit of a break because summer is just so busy. So there hasn't been any regular bi-weekly episodes like there usually is. But this is still just for fun. So thanks for being here. If you aren't familiar with this podcast, I have a guest on most episodes and we talk about social life and culture and things going on in Newfoundland and people doing cool things and sharing their experiences. And then my opinion of it all as a millennial woman living here in Newfoundland. Sometimes it's just an outlet for people to rant and get their thoughts out, which is more of the vibe today. Like I said, I've been having such a busy summer and I'm about to go to Toronto this weekend, which I'm sure is shocking to anyone who knows me. So I wanted to put this out beforehand, and it's an episode that I've been wanting to do for a while, and everything worked out to put this out and record it now. And as always, my guests are great, and we end up having like really honest, candid conversations. So for this reason, this is another two-part episode with my friends Becky and Jess. And I think our goal today is just to have a real conversation about how our lives currently are as single women. We're all the same age, and there's a lot of opinions and feelings that come along with that. So I just want to clarify beforehand that I think we're doing this because it's good to have friends or even just people you know through social media who you can relate to. And like in the same way that you have your work friends or school friends or mom friends, we've really bonded as single friends. And we're just trying to make sense of everything we're experiencing right now and laughing about it. And some things might be controversial. I'm really not sure. But I hope everyone can either relate or feel motivated maybe to improve your relationship with yourself or a partner, or to make some more friends in the same life stage as you. Even consider ways you can make positive changes into how you handle being single. If you're listening and you think, ugh, I don't like the things they're talking about, or like I don't know any guys who do these things, or I don't do these things, then that's great. And you can rest assured that we are not talking about you. And if you're thinking, okay, I've done that, then it's fine. Like we're not here calling anyone out. We're just talking about our own experiences. And there is a part later on that's beeped out just to protect maybe spoiling someone's identity. So don't panic if you hear a bleep. Cursing is allowed here, but exposing people is not happening. Another reason I've been wanting to do this episode is because I've been thinking a lot about how we put so much pressure on all kinds of romantic relationships when a lot of us have these long-term, long-standing relationships with friends. Like I remember being 18, 19 and saying to my best friend, like, we don't know who our husbands are, but we know that like each of us are going to be bridesmaids. And it's like really interesting to me how we expect a partner to be all these things right off the bat. And obviously I understand that that kind of relationship is different. And I do want that type of relationship eventually. But right now it just makes more sense for me to invest in the friendships I know are continuing, regardless of what happens with me and anyone else that I happen to date or be involved with. I don't know if that's cynical or I don't know. But that's the phase I'm in right now, and it's nice to have other people who get it. So yeah, let's get into our conversation with Becky and Jess. Yeah, so I have two guests today, which is the second time that I've ever had more than one guest. So this is a little bit more fun. And I was just saying that I usually never actually have a drink when I'm doing this, even though like my general idea of it was to like have it out on Friday and be a happy hour and like have a drink on a Friday, but I never actually record on Fridays. But tonight we're actually having a drink because we need some liquid courage.
We need it for this one.
So Becky and Jess are with me today. And I always start with how we know each other. So who wants to start?
Okay, so me and Sarah met not too long ago because I was a fan of her podcast. And I was like, I think that a lot of the topics she talks about are super relatable. They relate very closely with my life. And I wanted to be friends with her. So I sent her a message on Instagram and basically asked her to be my friend. And when I messaged her, I was like, is she gonna think like I'm such a weirdo for sending her this message? But she was super kind, super receptive. And at the time, I was doing the Signal Hike Challenge where you hiked it every day. And she was like, I noticed you're doing the challenge. Let's do a hike one day. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to make a new friend. So we went on a hike together, and the rest is history. We've been going out, having fun, having such a good summer. So, on that note, and I know that this is one of your questions, but we could start with this is how to make friends in your 20s
Mhm.
because I think it's really challenging. I personally don't know how to make friends in your 20s other than messaging them and being like, can you be my friend? I don't know other strategies. Like,
Well,
you
no,
know,
that's it. That's it. That was literally like, I think that's the main thing that I would say is to just like message people or like DMs are not just for dating.
yes. And I don't know why it's so scary because most people are going to be really kind to you and say, like, yes, of course, let's hang out sometime. I would. But it's like this weird um, idea that we have that we're like, oh, they're gonna think like I'm such a loser for like sending them a message. And I don't know why, but I think that more people should do that. And then I ended up meeting Jess through you and like other friends. So I am all for the just cold messaging people on Insta and saying, please be my friend.
Yep.
I think
I
it
agree. Well, that was so nice. And I love that you
works.
messaged me and we have been having a great time. Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
such a good summer. Do you have the story, Jess, of when you guys met or don't know?
I don't remember the story of how me and Sarah met. I remember always knowing who you were, and I guess I remember like being out in your presence. And I guess like we just met through that. Like we just had a lot of mutual friends. We would
Yeah.
run into each other a lot, and then I feel like we kind of knew. Like I knew that you had a similar lifestyle to me. Like you like
Mhm.
to go out, you like to have fun, you like to party. So I was like, well, we're just gonna divorce this friendship.
Dead. Yeah, we had mutual friends, but I feel like whenever we realized, not that we realized because I knew that you worked with my mom, but I think there was a party at Jesse's maybe, and we were talking about it, and then you were like, "Yeah, I'm single." I was like, "I'm single too." And then I think
Yeah.
we were like, "We should just go out sometime," which
I
we
do
did.
remember messaging you because the same thing. I was like, "Oh God!" Like Becky said, like, are you gonna think I'm a weirdo? Are you gonna be like, "No, why did you message me? You can't come out with me." But I remember messaging you, and being like, "What are you doing this weekend? Like, can I come drink with you?"
And the answer is always yes.
Yes.
It's the best way to do it. Just message people you want to be friends with, and most
Yeah,
times.
and now like the three of us have been going out. I had my first Georgetown pub experience. That's another episode for another day.
Georgetown over here.
We can't say enough
Yeah,
good things.
we're amazing at karaoke at Georgetown. You can catch us there Friday nights. We sang No Scrubs. I thought we did a wonderful job, honestly.
We did. It was a great time.
It
I
was a
didn't know
great
how repetitive that song is until you're singing the chorus over
hangover.
and over and over again at the end.
The
Um,
end went on and on.
yeah.
Oh my
But yeah,
gosh.
so the three of us all kind of bonded over being single in this economy. And just like bonded over a couple different things. So one of them was the Girls Gotta Eat podcast, which is like something that me and Jess talked about when we first became friends. Um, and they had someone on, I forget who she was. All their guests are like really qualified, but she was talking about how like when she's talking, I don't know, it was therapy or like counseling or something, but she was like, I don't like to separate people based on if they're single or if they're in a relationship. And when I first listened to that, I was like, I don't know if I agree because you are living such a different life, in my opinion. Like, I understand what she's saying, but I don't know. Do you guys agree?
I Yes, I know what you're saying. Obviously, I would never discriminate. I'm not gonna not be someone's friends. They have a boyfriend. But it's different. I know I wouldn't text some of my friends that are in relationships at like 5 o'clock on a Friday and say, "Hey, do you want to drink tonight?" Because the odds of them saying yes are a lot lower than the odds of a single friend saying yes. And I feel like that might be what bonds single girl friendships. Like you're available, you're free to do whatever. Like, and even like the traveling, like a lot of my friends, I feel like if they travel, they want to travel with their boyfriends. Totally fair. But when I travel, obviously I would love a friend to travel with me. And it's hard to find like a relationship friend to travel
Mhm.
with you.
True.
Yeah,
So
I
there's
fully agree that they should be separated. I think that single people and those in relationships they're just very different. Like your whole life for the most part is different. And this is just my perspective, but um, it's just like Jess said, like the people who are most likely to go out with you, have a fun time on a Friday night, they are going to be your single friends. And it's just the way it is. Like nothing against people who are in relationships and want to do their own thing on Friday nights, whatever, but totally agree. And I don't know if I heard that episode, so I don't really know the whole context of what the therapist was saying, but so she was saying that we should not separate them.
Yeah, like she doesn't like to give certain advice or yeah, like I guess give certain advice if someone's single versus if they're in a relationship. Which I can understand, I guess, from a therapy or like counseling point of view, but I think you're just living like your day to day is completely different. And like not to like I totally agree with you guys are saying, but and not to like discount my friends who are in relationships. Like there's a lot of them who are out every weekend, but it's different. Like they leave earlier or they're just in it together, right? Like,
Yeah.
I
yeah.
know. And this is the part that I feel like I say things and I'm like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, that's not really true. Or like, maybe that's offensive to people who are in a relationship. I have lots of friends who I could text an hour before and say, hey, you want to go for a drink? Just
Mhm.
the odds of them saying yes, I think are lower.
Mm-hmm. No,
Also,
it
the other
is true.
night I left my friends at 2:30 a.m. and I was like, I have to go home. And they were all still partying hard, karaoke cops. So there are times when they will not go home.
Yeah, I think it's just like the relating to it too. Like if I were to go out with a bunch of my friends who are all in a couple, and I'm like, this is the date I went on, this is the person I'm dealing with right now. Like the response that you usually get is, oh my God, if I was single right now, like if me and so and so broke up, I wouldn't be able to do it. I wouldn't go back to dating. And I'm just like, I'm out here in the trenches.
Yeah.
And I'm not even dating. Like I'm not even like I'm not actively trying to find somebody. My hinge is cold. But
Everyone's hinge is cold.
which is why I asked both of you to do this is because there is a different like bonding and there's a different understanding between people.
Yeah. Oh,
Um
absolutely. Yeah. Like we joke that we're like the last three single girls in St. John's, which obviously isn't true, but sometimes it feels that way because and that was another reason why I wanted to reach out to you and ask to be my friend because most of my friends are in relationships. Um, not all of them, but some of them. And I just wanted more single friends, honestly, for this experience. Like, I just wanted to feel like a little less alone, if that makes sense. Like, sometimes you're looking at people going on weekend trips together, doing couple things. And sometimes you do have those moments where you're like, like kind of wish I had someone to like go out to Port Rexton with for the weekend, or go out to dinner with. But then you're like, no, actually, there's a lot of single friends who are going through the same experience I am, and that can be equally as fun, just in a different way. So, expanding your circles to more single friends, that was a goal of mine
mhm.
in as well. And
Yeah, because I feel like you're forced to do a lot of things alone anyway. You know, because like think about it, if you live with someone and you wake up and you're like, I'm gonna go get a coffee, you do that together. Or like
Mhm.
Yeah.
you go to bed together, or you make supper. Like there's so many things that you have to factor someone else into. And I'm not saying that it's like it's not a good thing and it's not a bad thing. It's just different. Like we are just living differently.
We're living completely different lives. And honestly, I don't know if that's one of your questions about doing things alone, but I've grown to love it. I honestly love doing things alone. And I always say that it would now take like the most perfect prince out there to move into my house where I'm doing everything alone at all hours of the day. I can just have whatever I want, wherever I want, do what I want. No one's bothering me. Like, you really grow to love your own space when you spend this much time on your own. I don't know if you guys feel the same, Jess. I don't know if you feel the same, but
No, I
I
do agree.
feel it's like you
I
have your
agree.
own space, and just even the thought of having someone share my house with me now, I'm like, I don't see it
I
happening.
know. And I mean, I had a roommate for years and loved living with a friend. It was great. We had so much fun. And it was like kind of the companionship part of it. Like, I would come home and she would be here and I'd be like, what are we going to do tonight? Like, do you want to watch TV? Do you want to watch a movie? Like, we could go for a coffee on a Saturday morning. But now that I live alone, I love living alone. People ask, will I ever get another roommate? No. I love it. I love my own house. I love my own space. I love that I like not don't have to answer to someone. Maybe that's not like the correct way to say it, but like I love that I get to do my own thing.
I completely
Yeah.
agree. And just like, so I'm a very messy person. I just have clothes, makeup, everything everywhere at all times. And I don't want someone telling me where to put my mess. Like, I don't want someone to come in and tell me to clean up my stuff. Like, no, this is my house.
Yeah. And there's things like I feel like when you actually start dating someone, like those things come, but it's like once you, and I'm going to talk about protecting your peace later, but like once you are at peace, and sometimes you see like people with their significant other fighting or like leaving early because they're in an argument or like having some kind of issue, which is fine. Everyone goes through that. That's normal. But like there have been so many nights where I go home alone and like I live at home, but I house sit very often. So I'm very often on my own. I mean, I'm still on my own anyway. But yeah, like there's nothing like going home by yourself and being like, I am at peace with what is happening right now. And I'm happy that I'm not going home to that person being too drunk or that person fighting with me or whatever.
I could not agree more. Like when you see people, your friends or whoever out bickering with each other on a night out, first you get that realization where you're like, thank God that that is not me. And like you said, everyone goes through that, but you do have this little moment of appreciation where you're like, oh, I'm not dealing with this right now. And I think I said to you on Saturday night on George Street, I was like, the best thing ever is when you leave George Street, you're like a little bit tipsy, you get your food, you go home in your bed alone, you watch, put on your show, and you just sit there and like debrief the night alone. Like
Yeah.
the best feeling in the world. I wouldn't trade for it. I don't want anyone there with me when I'm doing that. Like I'm eating my burrito or whatever it is in peace. Leave me alone.
Yeah. It's true. And
Yeah.
like I find that's where I'm at now. And because of some experiences that some friends have gone through, actually me too. But like because of certain things lately, I'm kind of a bit cynical right now about just like dating and having a partner and things like that. But then there's other times it's been a minute. Like I don't think I've gone on a date since like January or tried to since then. Um, but
Yeah, I think we're all feeling cynical right now.
yeah, we're all in
And
our cynical eras. But there have been times where I'm like, okay, I'm really gonna try to date, or I'm just like so fine with having fun right now. And like I kind of had a phase like that recently, and now I'm just like almost over it again because that comes with a whole other slew of issues and like so I find that I'm always going up and down, and especially based on what my friends are going through. Like if everyone's happy in their relationships, I'm like, oh, this is so great. I'm gonna go on a date. But I go through phases. Do you guys think you go through phases?
Absolutely. And I don't even know if I'd use the word cynical. I'm not cynical right now. I am just having such a busy summer. I have like a big Europe trip coming up. Like I have so many things planned. Like I'm trying to like keep my own calendar straight that I can't even imagine trying to have somebody else's life to try and fit it with mine. So right now I'm very in like a I'm single, I love it, I'm living my own life, have no interest in dating phase. I don't even know if cynical is part of it. I feel like it can be cynical or it can just be I'm doing my own thing and I love it.
Just uninterested.
Yeah.
yeah, I think I go through those phases as well. almost weekly for me. Like there'll be some weeks where I'm like, I'm feeling really lonely this week. I wish that someone was here right now. I wish I had someone to watch a movie with. And then there are other weeks, like this week, I'm like, no, I never want to look at another man ever again.
Yeah.
Like I go back and forth so much. And I think that that's normal, but that's like on a week to week thing. But I will say that I thought about this when you sent me the question earlier. And like, in terms of years, like in terms of since I became single about 3 years ago, there's been like some pretty significant changes, I would say, in those 3 years. Like the first year, or even the first 6 months of being single, I don't know why, but I had this idea that like I was just gonna fall in love with someone again so quick. It's like when I left my ex-boyfriend, I'm like, okay, like yeah, on to the next one. Like, when's it going to happen? And I thought it was going to happen super fast. I got on the dating apps and I do that thing that a lot of maybe men do it too, but I think mostly women, where you just make up the person to be who you want them to be in your head. And I'm like, oh, yep, I found my husband. Maybe I found several potential husbands here. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to find someone. But then you realize, oh, wait, this is hard. Not everyone who I like likes me, and vice versa. And then I came to this realization where, like, I think this is going to be a lot harder than I thought. And then you go through this phase of like, I guess I felt a little, I was feeling down on myself because I'm like, wow, like, why can't I come into a relationship? And then you're almost forced to be alone in that time period because you can't find anyone suitable. Or but then I guess being forced to be single, if you want to call it that, your whole mind shift changes again, because then you really dive into the singleness and you're like, I don't have anyone else to focus my energy on except for me. So that's what happened to me anyway. And I'm like, I am going to put all my efforts into myself, in every sense of the word. And then you start enjoying your singleness.
Mhm.
And then it changes everything entirely, because then you're like, well, maybe I don't really need to be with someone. Like I'm feeling pretty fulfilled and happy here on my own. Like,
Mhm.
and when you reach that point, that is the point of empowerment. That is the point where you're like, yeah, I can do life on my own and I'll be perfectly fine. If you can support yourself, it takes a lot of work to get to that point, but if you can get your education or some training, you get a good job, you don't need to rely on anyone else for your financial support or your happiness in general. You find your happiness in yourself and with your girlfriends. That is the point where you're like, okay, I don't need a man to be happy. And I think that's the point I wanted to reach the whole time, but I didn't realize it. I didn't know that I had to get to that point. I don't know if
Yeah.
that's your experience, but
I was definitely forced into it. Um, because I was single for like 2 years and then was with someone and then was single, have been single since. But like I remember being like, I already did 2 full years single. Like I know myself. I don't need anything else. Which like I've said this on previous episodes, like I would just shake my older self or my younger self, I should say, and just be like, no. Like sometimes you do need to be forced to go in it, but it can be frustrating because there are people who go from relationship to relationship to relationship, and it's like, how are you finding someone? Because it's
yeah,
not
and
working
it's so
out.
easy to compare yourself, right? You're
Mhm.
looking at your friends and you're like, well, how did they find someone so quick? Like, am I not enough? Am I not funny enough? Am I not pretty enough? You go through all those questions, but at the end of the day, maybe you just have standards and you're just not willing to settle. That's how I'm
I
feeling.
think I think realizing that other people are going through their own phases, like timing is everything. Like you can meet someone when they're in their like I said on a previous episode, maybe all my episodes are going to be repetitive, but like I want to drive the point across that like someone's fuckboy is someone else's fiance. I don't know where I
Yeah,
heard that, but it's so true because like people, anyone is just going through the different phases and like it's kind of just luck when your phases line up, I feel.
I
But
agree. And I really like the saying, the wrong person, oh, I'm going to get this wrong. The right person at the wrong time is still the wrong person. Because you could meet somebody when they're in their absolute worst phase of their life and you can see the potential. You're like, oh, this person will be a really great life partner, but they're not ready to commit. So 2 months later, 6 months later, they meet someone and they're in the phase of their life where they're ready to commit. That has nothing to do with you. They were in the wrong place in their lives. And I find that sometimes hard to grasp. I'm like, but why didn't they want me?
Hmm.
It was just bad timing.
Yep. So true.
Yes, and that's the part on trying not to take things personally, which I really struggle with. Like I'm never one to think, oh, maybe it just wasn't the right time in their life. I'm like, no, they just didn't want me. Like there's something wrong with me. But in reality, you have no idea what someone's going through, what's going through someone's mind. And I think for me, it took a long time, and I still struggle with it, with trying not to take dating personally when you get rejected. I think that that's especially if you're an emotionally sensitive person, like I know I am,
Hmm.
and you can really get in your head when someone's not responding to you, or things take a different turn than you expected. But I think that just knowing that not everything is personal is so important for your mental health, especially if you're actively dating. But yeah,
Yeah. And I had as one of like the topics of how we expect so much more out of a romantic partner or like someone we're dating. It's kind of weird that we look at relationships differently than friendships because we kind of like want, I don't know, we almost want commitment like very soon. And when you think about it, like me and Jess, for example, like we were friends and we'd see each other and then we were talking and then we'd be at the same parties and then we started hanging out together. And there was never a thing of like, we have to solidify that she's my friend now. Like, or there was
Yeah,
never like a, Jess hasn't texted me in a month. Like, should I be offended? And so it's like, we also sometimes just need to stop putting pressure. I think we just need to take longer to get to know people, maybe. I don't
yeah.
know.
And like I can't expect and somebody can't expect of me for me to overnight be able to fit someone's whole life into my life.
Hmm.
Like if I meet a new friend, like it's such I don't want to say a low commitment because I don't want to compare like a friendship to a relationship like low commitment relationship, but I have the time to like adapt my life to theirs. But if I meet somebody who I want to date, well, do I have to fit them into my life overnight?
yeah,
I
Right.
that's
just
how
I
it
can't.
feels, isn't it?
Yeah.
What some people do is the things like people now who meet are like, oh, I want a ring and a baby. And they just kind of speed it along. But I think
That's
we should take longer.
that's a really interesting point. I never really thought about that. It's like I also think with female friends, it's like you don't feel any pressure to impress them. You don't really feel like they're gonna judge you the next time you go out based on like what you're wearing, like in terms of as you would if you're gonna go out with a guy, like you're gonna get dressed up, you're gonna try to impress them, you're gonna try to be your best self. But with your friends, you're like you can be more real faster, I think. And that just I don't know, you just have this feeling of like, even if I don't text Sarah in 2 weeks, like I know it's fine. We're gonna go out again in 2 weeks. Like we don't have to keep that up. But that's interesting. I don't really know why we do that. Why do we put that pressure on to move things so quickly? Maybe it's like,
But that kind of like on the other hand, because like I completely understand why we do speed it along, but I had a couple of questions in here for basically us giving advice to people. I don't want to say it's specifically men, but some of them are specifically for men. But
They need advice.
like all of
but
them.
but this one is just general, like how to handle dating and getting to know someone and how much to tell too soon. Because like I just said, I want to take time to actually get to know someone. And so many relationships are like, we went to school together, we had these mutual friends for years, we worked together. And so it's like, it's good to have the time to get to know someone. But at the same time, sometimes you just want to be like, here's everything about me. Do you like it or not? And like, you kind of just want to get it all out there. So it's like, how soon do you
Mhm.
say all the things?
I also think that depends on age. Like I know some of my friends that are married now that they met like in high school. we can't date people for 10 years at the age of 28. That's never going to happen.
I mean, we could if we
That
We
is a
want.
could.
good point.
I actually find that I'm a bit the opposite way in terms of being shy. Like when I go out with a new guy, I know I'm not being myself and I'm not going to divulge much information about my life. But that's just my personality of just being a naturally shy person.
Mhm.
And in some ways, I don't really like that because I leave the date and I think I wasn't showing my true self. I didn't mention anything authentic about my struggles or my flaws. And I go away thinking maybe if I did that, maybe he would have texted me the next day, or you know what I mean? Like, so it's kind of like a double-edged sword like that. Like, you don't know if you want to say too much or if you're like me and like you hold back a lot. I don't know what the answer is, but I think we could do a whole do's and don'ts for guys going on dates in particular. Um, and I know this wasn't really where the question was going, but you have one about how to date or like how
Let me
to
let
decide how
me
to date.
find it. I do just want to say too, like, don't feel that way because I feel like I overshare on every single date, and I'm like, now he just thinks that I'm obsessed with Taylor Swift and cheerleading, and I'm aware that that's
No,
not the
like I
most
don't think there's
attractive
a
thing to some people. So it's like you said, it's a fine line. But yeah, the question I had, like a how-to, was how to plan and execute a date. And I realized that I only have one tip for this, but I will let you go first, whoever wants to.
Okay, well, I will start because I was really thinking on this question. And I thought, I've planned a lot of dates in my day. Like, I won't lie, I have been on several dating apps. I'm not at the moment and haven't been for a few months. I'll have them for like 5 minutes and I'll delete them because I'm like, I can't deal. But I have gone on a lot of dates through dating apps. And I'm pretty sure that I planned all of them. I can't think of one where the guy planned the date. And I would just love for once in my life for the man to say, hey, I'm taking you out tonight. Here's where we're going. I'll pick you up at 7 o'clock. I made the booking. After that, we're going to go get ice cream at wherever. If you like me, maybe we can hang out after. If not, no worries. It's just for fun anyway. I just want the man to plan the date. And I feel like when they ask me, where should we go? What do you want to do? I always have an answer because I'm just a bit of a control freak anyway. I want to plan everything that's happening in my life. But I think it would be so attractive if the guy was like, yeah, here's where we're going. I'm coming to get you.
Mhm.
And like, I don't know if many guys realize that. Like, I don't know, would you guys like that to happen? Like,
That's okay. I have never noticed, like, I've never been like, oh my God, it's always me making a plan. But you saying that, I know that every time something happens like this, I'm always like, we could get a drink at wherever. I
you
always
have
say
a
that.
suggestion,
So
right?
I guess no one else is making a suggestion. I would like someone to make a plan or just like take some initiative. Be like,
Take some initiative. That's all we
you
want.
yeah, like, do you want to
Yeah.
get ice cream or do you want to go for a walk? Like, I don't know. I feel like that
Okay.
question isn't asked.
What's your thoughts on this? Could be a little controversial, but the guy having to pay on the date. Like, should you split the bill? Should the girl? What's your thoughts?
Oh, this is going into all my feminist. So for a long time, I was like, no, men, women equal. Oh, and if we talk about the Barbie movie later, I'm gonna go on another rant about this. But I do think there is a level of chivalry, maybe. But I think for me, like, I always do the whole like, no, like, I'll get it, or like split, at least split it, I think. Um, I wouldn't expect someone to like buy me a big dinner and then pay for all my drinks all night. But I think if we go for a drink, buy my drink.
Yeah.
I
What
don't
do
know.
you think?
At least buy the first one, because then what happens is like the second one I'm gonna get it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. So, yeah, I agree. I think that there's something to be said for like being a gentleman. And I think that guys aren't totally aware of that. Like, if you just take the bill for the first drink.
There's so
So
many thoughts going through my head.
I
Like,
went on, but like you said, the second one, I'll get that. That's fine. Like,
yeah.
no big deal. And I would never expect like some big elaborate meal for him to pay on a first date. Like, absolutely not.
I think
But
this is my cynical kind of thing coming out right now, because I am fresh off, like we all went to see the Barbie movie together and we're going to talk about it after. But people want a certain thing from women. If I showed up looking a certain way, talking about certain things, they'd be like, ugh. So if you can expect that out of me, shouldn't I be able to expect the typical man thing of you for you to buy my first drink? But that's problematic.
no, I don't think it's problematic. I think that, okay, so just a quick little story time. I went out on a date with a guy to a brewery. And when the waitress came around, it's like he was waiting to tell her that the bills would be separate. And like, it's like he was, and you might have to cut this out as well, but like, she came around and I had one drink, like the small beer, and it was like $7. And she came around and she's like, how are you doing? And before she even got the sentence out, how are you doing the bill? Separate. And I was like, I felt so embarrassed. And I could tell that like the waitress felt for me. Like she looked at me and thought, like, wow, what a fucking dick.
Mm.
Because it's just like so obvious that he wanted to like hurt me in that moment and just be like, no, I'm not paying for your drink. Like, and it turned me off immediately. I wanted to go home, didn't want to see him again, like done. But guys, just like whatever your motive is, which usually it's not a relationship, but if you can just be kind to them, like things will go so well for everyone involved. Does that make sense? Like no matter what your goal is in taking this woman out, if you just treat her with
Buy the first drink.
respect and kindness, most likely you're probably going to get whatever it is you're looking for. And that I'm not just saying like that's a one night stand kind of thing. Maybe you are looking for a relationship, but like just start it off on a good foot is what I'm trying to say. And like build the foundation solid for whatever is about to come. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Just buy the first drink. That's all I'm saying. I feel so passionate about buying.
Jess, any thoughts?
I don't know my thoughts. I agree. Like, I don't like a first date that's like a big, like a meal or anything that's expensive. So I can see where you guys are coming from. We're not asking a lot by the first drink. Like, that's all the first date really is. I don't know my thoughts. It is hard to say because I obviously don't want to put that on anybody. I have dated guys who I feel like didn't have a lot of money, and obviously I would never want to put someone in a situation where they couldn't pay for a drink. I don't know.
I really want Raina and Ashley to make a comment here.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. I think the general thing is like, oh, I don't know. Maybe like both parties on a date just need to fake it till you make it and just be like, I'm gonna get the first round. No, I'm gonna get the first round.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I just don't even speak when they when they come over with the bill.
Just both people just look.
No, I'm not even looking at it because I find it like, but like you said, if it's a big meal, I'm obviously gonna say like, oh, I'm gonna get mine. Like I'll just jump in right away. But
Mhm.
like first drink, a $6 drink, like
Or like an ice cream.
yeah, like
Yeah.
chivalry, I can't say the word, cannot be that dead. Like we need a little bit of gentlemanness in this world.
And I guess everyone's different too. But
Everyone's different. Maybe not everyone wants, like, there's different preferences. Maybe you want to pay for your own drink. I personally don't.
I do kind of agree, and I know I've left dates where like I've paid for the first round, and I've just kind of been like, this was a shit date. This is an inconvenience to me. I didn't have fun, and I had to fucking pay for you. Oh, sorry, I'm not supposed to curse on your podcast.
No, you totally can. I do all the time.
It's not rated PG. Yeah. No.
Well, yeah, like that wouldn't be my first tip. If I was going to tell someone how to make a plan, not even a date, just a plan. And I am not talking about one person. I am talking about a general experience that me and friends have had. And it's not even specific to Newfoundland. I have friends in Ontario and Alberta and BC and everywhere else. Do not go drinking before a date, and do not go golfing before a date. If you know you're doing either of those things, postpone, reschedule the date.
I agree.
There have been too many canceled dates, dates attended drunk,
Yep.
wastes of makeup and hair. That's my main tip to execute a date. Cancel before 24 hours notice, even 6 hours notice. If I'm not getting ready yet, sure.
Yeah, fair. Life happens.
I think that guys don't realize that like girls are putting a lot of effort, most of them, like usually.
Which is why I think that's what I was trying to say about the buy the first drink thing, because it's like I took at least an hour to get ready.
Yeah. And if you're going to cancel on me the last minute, there's nothing worse. Like I've wasted my good Sephora makeup on going out with you.
I like I say it all the time on this podcast. I don't mean to like single out men/women. I would love to know like a woman and woman date and man date. Like, I'd love to know someone's opinion. So maybe that's another episode for another time. Like, that'd be a great question.
And can we talk about like on the date, like tips for on the date? I would think my biggest tip for guys in particular is to ask more questions about the woman and her life. Like, even if you don't really care, just pretend like you care. Like, it's gonna make the date so much better. You'll get beyond a surface level of like, how many siblings do you have? And like, ask her like what are your genuine hobbies? Like what would you do on a night by yourself? Like come up with thoughtful questions and like think about your questions before you go out with her. Have them like planned out. Like don't just sit there and like
Jay Shetty is a good podcast to listen to because he's like, here's what you should do in each stage of getting to know someone. And I think like it's totally different if you're like dating to maybe try and find someone. It's totally different if you're just like having fun, whatever. So like it should be, I feel like I don't know. It's a rabbit hole because sometimes you don't know what you're looking for. And sometimes you meet someone and you're like, you're just someone to have fun with. And you just get that vibe and that's what it is. And you don't want to date them, which is totally fair.
I just feel like there's been several dates I've been on where like I've had to hold the conversation and that can be so exhausting. Like you're just always trying to come up with the next question. But if like the man would just put in a little more effort into like even repeating the questions that I'm asking him, like just come back to me with the same stuff, then we can get somewhere beyond surface level and there's a greater chance that there's going to be a second date. And I also feel like you can't really judge someone that well on a first date. Like you're both nervous, you're both like not really being your true selves. But on a second date, if you can break through the ice a little bit, then you can kind of, get to know who someone really is a little bit more. So that's just my experience. I just found that a lot of guys that I've gone out with just don't ask me anything about me. And I'm like, why did you ask me out? Like,
and saying, what about you, is not a hard question to ask. Like, if I've asked you a question and you answer it and then you let the conversation die, no. It's like, obviously, I ask a question because, like, I'm hoping that you'll ask me a question.
Exactly. But when you ask the question and they respond and there's, like, nothing, you're like, oh, what's next? Come on, brain. And when I go home, from those kinds of dates, I feel, like, emotionally drained. I'm like, my social battery is dead.
When you sent us the list of like ideal questions, Sarah, and I read this one, My answers were not going to be like so thoughtful. Mine were going to be like, don't wear sweatpants and a hoodie.
But
Don't
that's so
That's good.
valid.
don't drink 2 flights of beer and offer to drive me home. No, thank you. I will cab. Don't, this is a friend's horror story, but don't wear your dirty work pants. Don't, like, if I'm going to your house, don't leave in your room. I still can't believe that this happened to
No.
her and this
Oh
man.
my God.
There's
If
just
we
so
could
many
get
like
into like house hygiene, that needs its a whole 3-part episode. Oh my God, the stuff oh no.
yeah.
Yeah. But no,
The
that
horror
first tip
stories.
about the wardrobe, that's good. Like put a little effort
I
into
think,
your
yeah, I think the thing is just put a little bit of effort in. And I think most people are understanding. Like, if someone did show up in like work pants or something, they could be like, I didn't want to be late. I didn't have time to go change. Everyone's going to understand that if you acknowledge it.
Does this
Like,
man only own one pair of pants?
yeah.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And it also just makes you feel like, oh, he just didn't care about going out with me at all. Like he's
Yes.
just looking like a slob. He'd
True.
rather be home playing video games.
Mm,
Okay, I shouldn't rant too much, but
yeah.
you know what I'm getting at. That's a good point.
So after that, if it's been going on for a minute, I feel like we should do a how-to on how to end a situationship. I don't think like a date or two is consider that, but I mean like someone that you've been like seeing in some capacity and like talking to, and you're like, okay, this is done.
My dates never really make it as far as a situationship, so I can't. Jess, do you want to start? I have thoughts on like ghosting and like how I feel very passionate about you should never ghost.
I
But
agree. I'm usually very pro, like open and honest, especially if like we're still in the texting phases. You can send a text to tell someone you're not interested. As shitty as it is to have to send it and then deal with the 3 or 4 texts that are going to follow, it's better than ghosting someone or like leading them on for weeks or making them wonder what they've
Mhm.
done wrong to upset you. Just send the text.
Yeah.
Jesus.
text, it's
I
not hard.
I think ghosting is fine if you've like sent a couple messages. Um, I think it's like the capacity of like how much you were talking and or like hanging out or like how much you were getting to know each other. Like, because usually what happens is someone says a question and then no one answers. And so it's like, I think you should have the common courtesy. Like, this is one of the notes I wrote. This is like the only note I wrote for this question. It's so easy to be like, I don't feel that much of a connection here to take this any further. Good luck to you. Like, that's so easy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a 2 sentence message is so easy.
I
And
really like getting to know you, but I don't see this going anywhere.
yeah, and I
I think
think
that's totally fine to say.
you're right. Like it's fine to go somewhere like you go out and like maybe you both just never talk again. You didn't feel it, fine. But if someone asks you out again or they're seeming like they're interested in you to keep talking, just send that 2 sentence text. Like
Mhm.
I have done it several times and I've had it done to me, and it just leaves you being like, okay, like at least now I know, and like just thank you next, that type thing. But if you went out with someone and you really like them or even a little bit and you want to keep talking but they're not responding to you, like that
Mhm.
can really drive you crazy if you're an anxious attachment style. And it's the thing of like always checking your phone, like, oh, did they respond yet? Just
Mhm.
send them, just let them know, and like don't string them along, don't lead them on if you're not interested. Just let them go, move on. And
That goes into my next question, which is how to handle sometimes it's love bombing, where someone's like coming on way too strong and it's kind of out of nowhere, and you're like, oh wow, they really like me. And then they kind of like back off completely. Um, or just like statements about how they feel about the situation or the relationship or the future of the relationship. Um, I don't know the answer to this question, but it's like how to handle that. Like if someone is coming on too strong or they're saying all these nice things, because it's like people just aren't intentional. And I don't want to say men, but it's men. I feel like women are so intentional. It's so clear what I want from you. I feel
yeah,
if I'm like putting in any effort to like hang out with you or like meet up with you, I feel like that's so obvious.
Yeah.
And then I feel like on the other hand, like, not on the other hand, I feel like on the other side, people are like saying all these things. And maybe it's just like saying what we want to hear. I really, truly don't know. I do not know the answer to this question. But if a young person asked you advice, what would you say? Because I don't know.
Yeah. I think that there's two things to touch on there. One is the love bombing, which is when someone comes on really strong, like you said, it makes you feel like super wanted, and it can be really overwhelming, but you can also like get a little high off it, if that makes sense. You're getting all this attention. But then there's the opposite of that, which is when you have a crush on someone and they're breadcrumbing you, and you're just getting like little bits of them. You're getting little bits of attention every now and then. And you're just eating it up. The breadcrumbing for me is what drives me insane. I think the love bombing, for the most part, I'd be like, okay, that's too much. But when someone just like, and I guess another word is like plain hard to get, whether they're trying it or not. So I thought a lot about this because I've had it done to me where like I'm really into someone and they're just like they're giving me enough attention to keep me interested, but it's not what I really want. And I saw somewhere, and it just resonated with me so much, is that at the end of the day, you have to trust that person's actions and not their words. So whether they're giving you a little attention or a lot of attention, if they're not asking you out on the dates, if they're not putting in the effort as you would want them to, cut them loose. As hard as it is in some instances, you have to think about what are they actually doing? What are the actions that they're taking to date me? So that would be my advice. If a young person were to ask me that, I'd say, okay, like, are they asking you out? Are they being intentional, like you said? And the other point that you mentioned is like, you're right. Like, most women are not messaging men for no reason. Like, I feel like a lot of men message women just for the sake of like an ego boost. If I don't know if you agree, but like, that's been my experience. They just want a girl to talk to just to get a little boost out of it. But like, if I'm talking to you, there's a reason. Like, I genuinely want to get to know you if I'm putting in that effort, and I want to spend time with you. I want to go out with you and like have a fun time. Like, we are very intentional.
I think some women though too, like, because like women kind of have that phase too, where it's like, oh, like I'm just having fun right now and like nothing serious. But I feel like it's always at least like in the past couple of years of our age, I feel like I'm so intentional. I think it's different when you're like 20, but
Yeah.
I feel
And it
like
doesn't have to be intentional for a relationship or like marriage. What it could just be intentional for like, I want to spend time with you. I want to get to know you in person.
mhm.
Like, there's different levels of, I guess, what you're looking for, but like, never am I just texting a man just for like the sake of texting a man. Like, there's something that
Mm.
I want to get to know, you know?
I feel like if I am doing it just for the sake of it, I've said it. Like I've
Yeah.
said, like, oh, this, I like, I'm not in this for anything serious, or
Yeah. We're
like there's
on
been
it.
a comment made because I feel the need to be like clear. I feel like a lot of people do.
I
Jess,
feel like
agree.
I've fallen into the trap before of thinking that I want something different than what I do, or like thinking like, oh, well, maybe this is what I want, or maybe this is going to work out, and maybe I've strung someone along for longer than I should have, because in the back of my mind I'm like, no, like I can make this work. But like you need to kind of like be honest with yourself and the fact that like you're hurting someone else by not being honest with your intentions.
Hmm. That is a great point. And that leads me into my second, well, not second question. I have a couple more questions, but um, do you agree? Like, I was going to ask if you agree that it's a fine line between being like a cool girl and being crazy, because I think there is. I think, well, I guess this is like what I was saying about protecting your peace. Like I'm so at peace and so fine by myself. And so when I am talking to someone, whether I think it's going to go somewhere, whether I don't, whether it's just a couple of dates, I'm so like I overlook things that are potential red flags because I'm like, oh, I don't care. That doesn't affect me. That doesn't bother me. And then like further into whatever kind of relationship it is, I'm like, They
came up
fully showed me that this is going to be an issue.
Yep.
And so like you want to be cool and you don't want to be crazy. But like from the beginning, I should have said, I'm not dealing with that. But you don't want to sound like you need to change yourself. And so anyway.
I think it's like the concept of the chill girl, right? Like that's the term. Like you're always just trying to be like, oh, just like let him do whatever he wants. Like I don't care about anything he does. Nothing affects me, nothing bothers me, because you just don't want to seem like, I don't know, like you're controlling or
You don't want to seem like the nagging girlfriend.
the nagging girlfriend. But in reality, like I saw a girl on TikTok a little while ago, and she's like, I'm done with being the chill girl. She's like, I'm just going to be honest with what I want, because no matter what, this issue is going to come up again down the road. And when we're more comfortable with each other, and I'm no longer the chill girl in the beginning, he's going to be like, who is she? Who is this person who's suddenly like, no, I actually would prefer that we stay home tonight, or rather than go out partying, you know? So I do think that, yeah, you've got to, there's got to be a balance in the beginning. You've got to be like chill, but yet not chill. I don't know how to explain it.
Another double-edged sword.
I think you can be honest and still like sensible is probably not the right word. I'm sure like you can be like someone who like acts like a crazy girlfriend and freaks out over something, or you can have like an honest conversation with someone to be like, listen, this is not what I want, and I don't want to be with someone who does XYZ in like a calm way. That's not a crazy girlfriend way.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've learned
That
that
is
more.
so true. And I guess like the right person should see it as like a boundary rather than she's trying to change me. If you don't want to do it, like, I don't know.
It's like that saying that's like, you can never say the wrong thing to the right person. Right? Like it doesn't matter what you say to them, they're going to understand if they're right for you. So
true. Oh, I wanted to talk about the Are We Dating the Same Guy group real quick.
Okay.
I hate that group.
I also
hate the Are We Dating the Same Guy group because I don't care that you know his family. I don't care that he cheated on you 10 years ago when he was in high school. I want to know, did he beat you? Is he a murderer? Did he sexually assault you? Those are the red flags I need you to warn me about. I don't care that you work with his mom and his mom is nice.
This is true. Some people go in that group way too much and they're like, I don't know, I'm on a dating level. Okay, don't comment. Then like this is, like you said, this is to find out if this person is an abuser or if he's currently married or has a girlfriend.
Also that, very important, yes.
Like I think that's the whole point of that group.
I don't know if we're supposed to talk about the group. I feel like it's supposed to be like a secret.
Oh, but it's not a secret.
It's not a secret. But like I know the rule is you just can't post like any screenshots or anything, which is totally understandable. But
Totally
like
fair. I feel like talking about it because I think it is a good resource for people who are dating men. And I'm sure a group about women could have potential. But the disappointing thing is that like from things that other people have shared is that it's never talking about like disrespectful behavior from women. It's just shitting on women for like how they look or who they've dated before. And like that's not the point. It is the exact same thing where it's like, did she abuse you?
Yeah, it's the safety aspect of it. I left the group. I don't know if I should say this. You can be the judge of it, but I just found that like the people that women were posting, I just felt like, why are you talking about them in the first place? And I don't know if we can say that, but I just felt like, ladies, let's raise our standards. It is 2023. Like if his Tinder picture has like knives and like drugs in it, or like, and maybe we can post this because I'm using extreme examples. Like if his Tinder pictures are like horrendously with like weapons and like nudity and like, that is the reason why I get out of it, because I just felt like the bar is on the floor. Like
I think the bar is on the floor. And it's not judging someone based on how they look. Like you said, it's like, what are you, because there are people holding a gun. like it posts. Like there are people
But
that you
there's
see
a
on
guy
Tinder
holding
holding
a
a gun.
handgun.
There are people that you
Yeah,
see who like it's a blurry picture, one blurry picture of their face. And it's like, are you starting a conversation and trying to date someone where it's a blurry picture of their face?
exactly. And
Like
that's a good point. It
sometimes
is
you just
not
need
how
to
you
like,
look. Everyone's attracted to different things. I get
yes,
that. But it's the whole point of like what is in the photo. Like there are some really scary Tinder pictures out there.
or
It's
yeah,
just,
like pictures where your face isn't even in it. And it's like, why are we posting these being like,
yep.
does anyone know a
It's
red flag
too much
about this
out there.
person?
And
Because
then like you'll match with someone who's like kind of looks sensible to you, and the first thing they'll say is something like super sexually vulgar or like
mhm.
something really disturbing, and you have to unmatch right away. So
And I think it's like what we said before. It's not about like how you look, it's the effort.
it's the
Like,
effort.
this is how I'm presenting myself to someone I'm possibly going to date. Is that the level of effort you put into everything? And like, maybe we shouldn't judge people based on that, but like,
Well, we're there to judge them, right? We're there to judge
that is
and
the point of a dating app. You're
that
right.
is the point. We can I say this all the time. I look at like
Ask
guys,
your girlfriends, like ask your
ask your mom, like just ask a woman in your life to like
I'm gonna
oh,
say don't ask
I
your
could
mom.
go off. I take
Because
it back, don't ask mom, that's true. Ask a female friend, and I honestly feel like that's a good business. Like charge $50.
well, I think it's because some people and are very careful with what they put on their profiles. So it's like, I want to show that I'm this, this, and this. I want to have prompts that show that I like this, this, and this. And like, it takes so little time to make a dating profile. So it's like, it's just the effort. And it's like, show me, like, give me some kind of glimpse of who you are.
Yeah.
It's like you have one opportunity to showcase your best version of yourself. And I don't think enough people do it in the best way.
Right. And it doesn't mean that some people don't look great and seem great on dating apps. And then you meet them in person and you're like, oh,
Yeah,
And
exactly.
that's my biggest issue with dating apps is I don't know if well, not everyone on there is genuine and people don't want what they say they want. And if you're not going to take it seriously, it's a waste of my time.
hmm,
And that's my biggest issue. And there's times that I don't take it seriously, and that's when I delete my dating apps. Why do I need to have a profile there if I'm not interested in actually dating you? That's not fair.
right.
Okay, that's it for part one. Thanks for listening, everyone. As I said, I hope you can relate to some of this or at least found it entertaining. And I hope it doesn't come across as negative. Sometimes you just have to laugh about this stuff that you're all dealing with, and it can make you feel better about it all. I think it's interesting how everyone can have different preferences when it comes to some of this stuff. And I think it all just goes back to show how we just want the same effort back that we give. And we keep this conversation going in part two. So that's going to be out August 25th, hopefully. You can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok for any updates at Newfound Happy Hour. And you can catch up on all the previous episodes anywhere you get your podcasts. Have a good weekend.